Welcome to Brainiac, the show that meets science on a darkened street corner and blows raspberries right in its face.
The silly science on Brainiac tonight. All the fun of the fair as we check out Dodgem car physics. See you later. We say goodbye to another caravan. Do fast music and distracting passengers make you drive badly? We get fruity down at the lab and bone idle bog cleaning with the lazy man's guide. But first, let's start by putting the plug in the socket. Take one very large deserted warehouse. Introduce some low-amp 9-volt electrical equipment, one Brainiac, and you have yourself an experiment. The current that these electrode pads will carry produces electrical impulses that will stimulate specific muscle groups. Today, we're experimenting to see if it's possible to neatly complete a child's dot-to-dot drawing whilst being electrocuted. Our Brainiac, as usual, has 2 electrode pads attached to each of his arms. What constitutes good art is a highly debatable topic, but with dot-to-dots, you can't go wrong. Dot-to-dot utilises both sides of the brain, the left side for the numbers and the right side for creative visualisation. However, the electrical impulses we're providing override any signal the brain sends. They cause uncontrollable contractions in the arms of our Brainiac, vastly hampering his artistic attempt. Neatly completing a dot-to-dot. One more thing you can't do whilst being electrocuted.
Here's one for you. Why do you never see any baby pigeons?
Unblocking toilets is a full-time occupational hazard for us, what with the vast quantity of fast food and lager that makes up the average Brainiac diet. It's a job we could get done by someone else, with a £100 call-out charge and an emergency plumber. But paying anyone over £100 to do anything is not really the Brainiac way. We'll have a go, of course, with our own tools, but they're never going to be able to fix this one. So, what do we do? Well, we've got bombs at our disposal. Light the fuse, chuck it in, stand well back. It's a slow burner, but when it goes, it really goes. That should do it. You have to watch out for bits of flying plumbing, but it's definitely a quicker way of going about things. A few bits to reassemble, of course, but a bit of glue and duct tape, and this Kazi will be as good as ever. Give us £100 and we'll come round to your house. Unblocking the bomb, Brainiac style.
OK, now I'm about to describe a nightmare situation, and I don't want you to be scared. But imagine, it's a long road trip ahead of you. You've got your car, you've got your petrol, you've got your sunglasses. You've forgotten your favourite tunes. I know, it's horrendous. Get it right, though, and, well, what could be better? Cruising through the countryside with your favourite sounds to keep you occupied. But research shows that really loud music can turn you into a bad driver. So today we're going to run some tests to find out, firstly, if this is true, and if so, which types of music are the worst offenders.
These are our 3 guinea pigs. Each one will be listening to a different type of music to see if style, as well as volume, makes a difference. This is Gary, and he's driving a well-worked BMW with a banging sound system, listening to some pounding drum and bass, courtesy of Ronnie Size. This is Phil. He's rather posh, and he'll be driving this sleek-looking Jag, listening to the sounds of Elgar. It's Pomp and Circumstance March number 1. And finally, this is Tony. He's our middle-of-the-road man, driving a Rover. His choice of music is also very middle of the road. Jennifer Rush and the Power of Love. Nice.
Now, our first test is designed to see if the volume of the music affects a driver's perception of speed. And we're going to do it like this. We'll cover up the speedo in each of these 3 cars. And we'll then get our drivers to see if they can drive at what they think is 30 miles an hour without the music. Then we're going to crank up the volume and see if their perception of 30 miles an hour has been altered.
Posh Phil was first away, and his guess was a good one. Only 2 miles an hour out with 32. Tony wasn't quite as accurate. His estimate, 4 miles an hour too fast at 34. It's probably what we'd expect from a rover driver. But Gary, our boy racer, did provide us with a surprise. His estimate of 30 was actually slower by 1 mile an hour, with 29. Boy racers around the country will no doubt be ashamed.
OK, now none of our guinea pigs know how close they were, or weren't, to the 30-mile-an-hour mark. So now we're going to repeat the test, only this time they'll each have their own choice of music on. Loud.
What we've asked them to do is beep their horn when they think they're at 30 miles an hour.
15, aggressive start there. 20, 22. This is weird, he's going slow. 20. OK, that was... We're now doing 26 miles an hour. It's gone wrong. Phil's actually driving slower.
So, Posh Phil's perception of speed is definitely affected. He's driving 6 miles an hour slower than without the music. Next up, Tony, accompanied by Jennifer Rush. Without music, he guessed 34.
Nice. Nice. How about it? OK, we're accelerating away. 10, 15, 22, 20, 25. Oh, he honked at 25. He's now cruising at 35. Tony's rubbish. It's Rover, man. Hopeless.
Well, what can we say? Tony was all over the place. At times, he was 9 miles an hour slower than his first run. Must be the power of Jennifer Rush.
OK, well, I think, yep, Gary's got his music on. In your own time.
For Gary's no music run, his estimate was 29.
OK, we're at 30, 34, 35. OK, he hit that at 33. He's dropped to 29. Dropped 27. We're slowing down. We're 26. He's all over this.
Although Gary was the closest on the run with no music, his run with some banging tunes was, like Tony's, inconsistent and, embarrassingly for a boy racer, sometimes as slow as 24.
OK, so we've shown that loud music really leaves you clueless about how fast you're actually going. Join us later to discover just how distracting decibels really are as we put our guinea pigs through a skills test. And we'll find out which back seat activities are the most disturbing for drivers.
Hi, I'm Kate Lawler, and you're watching Brainiac. John Tickle, I love you! Mwah!
Peeling some fruit is just not worth the effort for what's inside. So, just which is the most pain-in-the-arse fruit?
Yum, yum.
We've brought the 5 most irritating fruits in the world into the lab. Their job is to eat the fruit in front of them in the fastest time possible. They've all got the same amount of fruit pound for pound. They're all hard work to peel, but which is the worst?
OK, stand by. On her command, please start peeling and eating your fruit. Start.
For the purposes of this experiment, these brainiacs have to eat all the edible part of the fruit. That means all the flesh and juice, but no skin, pips and core. Hands, teeth, brute force and sharp nails are all they can use. The last one to be eaten will officially be the most pain-in-the-arse fruit. Some fruits come naturally hard to peel, so that when animals try to get into the flesh, they're forced to distribute the seeds over a wider area, and hence more fruit grows. It's nature's little way of being a pain in the arse. And it looks as if lychee Brainiac, big stone and damel fruit, is well on the way to finishing. Just a matter of searching for the last few. Watermelon Boy's not been too held up by the huge number of irritating pips lurking in the fruity flesh. And Kiwi Man seems to have gone around the rather tedious business of skin stripping by simply sucking the flesh out. And there goes Watermelon Boy, spent, sticky and finished. Orange Boy trying the wild animal approach of just plunging his jaws in. He won't be too long either.
Finish.
And there goes Mr. Kiwi, who looks well stuffed.
Finish!
And he's closely followed by Lychee Girl. Just Mr. Mango and the orange animal left. Mango Muncher facing the nightmare of tight skin, huge nut and large quantities of fibrous flesh. And was that the orange finishing? Hard to spot through the pip and rind in his mouth. But yes, the judges give him the all clear. So that means the winner or loser, and now officially the most pain in the ass fruit in the world, is the mango. This object has been magnified 100 times. It's from a food that some claim is the most perfect food known to man. And no, it's not fish and chips. What do you think it is? Find out in just a moment.
This is Brainiac, the show that rings the doorbell of science and then runs away.
Also to come, Brainiac's in the supermarket getting lost and found, and grubs up, microwave meals Brainiac style. Earlier we showed you this. It's been magnified 100 times. Packed full of potassium, some claim you could live off this food alone. Yes, it's a pip from the centre of a banana.
I've had another letter. It reads, Dear John, I've heard that water in a sink goes down the plug hole in the opposite direction in the southern hemisphere than it does in Britain. Is this true? That's from Brian in Sunderland. Well, Brian from Sunderland, here on Brainiac, we like to spare no expense in getting the answers to our viewers' scientific questions. So I'm going to get in contact with the Australian branch of the Brainiac organisation and see if we can find out the truth on this one once and for all. First, though, I'm going to have to pay a visit to my bathroom. Welcome to my bathroom. As you can see, I filled up the basin with water. Now, the theory goes that the direction of the water flows out of the basin is affected by the Coriolis effect. This states that the rotation of the Earth determines the direction of the flow of air, and that direction should be different depending on which side of the Earth that you're on. The flow of air, so they say, determines the direction of the flow of water. Now let's pull out the plug and see what happens. OK, well, I'm in England and that water is flowing out in a clockwise direction. I'll just add a little bit of pepper so you can see that more clearly. Now, if the theory is correct, then in an Australian sink, say, it should be going out anti-clockwise. So is it? Hello, Marco, can you hear me?
Yeah, hello, John. Yeah, I can hear you, loud and clear.
And where are you now?
I'm in the heart of the burbs in Sydney, Australia.
OK, would you go to your bathroom for me, please?
Yep, sure. I'll head down there now.
Will you please pull out the plug and tell me which way the water goes?
OK, let's test it out. OK, and as you can see, it runs clockwise.
Thank you, Marco. Well, there you go, Brian from Sunderland. I think we put that one to bed. And the reason? Well, it goes like this. Yes, the Coriolis effect does exert some small influence on the direction of the flow of water, but it's the shape of the sink and the plug hole and the speed of the flow which are far bigger factors. It's these which ultimately determine which way the water drains out. And just to prove it, why don't you settle back and enjoy my home movie? I call it Sinks Around the World. Brilliant.
The following experiment is dangerous for your safety and the protection of those around you. Do not try this at home. No, really, don't.
Baked beans in a tin. Harmless enough until, that is, you introduce some microwave radiation. With the microwave running, the baked beans heat up, and because the tin is completely sealed, there's nowhere for the gas created to escape. And we all know about escaping gases and baked beans. The longer the tin stays in there, the hotter it gets, and the more the contents expand, until the pressure inside becomes too much for the tin to take, and it explodes. It's a sizable bang from our beans, the force of it blowing the door off, sending scorching hot beans all over the place, and leaving the oven in a right mess. We do these experiments so you don't have to. Do not try this at home.
Crystal balls, tarot cards, star signs. When it comes to predicting the future, should you rely on the spirit world to help you pick the winner of the 2:30? Or would you be better relying on a small, furry primate?
Yes, it's psychic versus monkey here on Brainiac, as we put the predictions of a psychic up against those of a 5-year-old rhesus monkey. 4 tests. Who will get the most right?
Pick a crystals, whichever.
First, they both warm up with a general reading.
Okay, as I link into your energy field, I'm more sort of linked to the emotional side at the moment. And that's just showing me you're kind of very fickle when it comes to relationships. I just feel like you're being pulled in 2 directions. So it's kind of 2 women or 2 girls that you're interested in, but you're not a man that can be faithful.
So, 2 women interested in this Brainiac. Bit unlikely, I think. Mary the monkey also spends some time getting to know him.
Girlfriend's the main concern, really. What do you think, I should be doing? Brush up on my people skills?
Mary, frankly, couldn't give a monkey's. Right, first test. 5 different symbols. One is chosen at random, the picture of a dog. It's copied onto a blank card and hidden in the envelope. We then give it to Psychic Jane. Can she guess which of the symbols we chose? She has only the vibrations to guide her. No vibrations for Mary. She'll probably pick the one that looks most like a banana. Psychic Jane calls on guidance from above and chooses the lightning bolt. Oh dear, bad choice, Jane. Mary tries to cheat by opening the envelope and having a peek, but we soon put a stop to that. Then she's torn between 2 cards, the lightning symbol and the dog. Discarding one, which has she chosen? Yes, it's the dog. The monkey goes 1-0 up. Next, we want to know which is the best day to play the lottery. Jane runs her hands over a calendar, looking for spiritual guidance. But Mary is confused. She can't eat it or mate with it. What is this calendar for? Jane uses psychic intuition and picks the 22nd. Mary's not good with a pen, so she uses her own unique method, chewing a sweetie and placing it on her favourite day. She's plumped for the 8th. We've taken their advice and put all our holiday money on those 2 dates. If they win, we're off to the Caribbean. If not, it's Frinton again. Find out how they got on with this and who wins the overall challenge later in the show.
Thinking of going into space? Oh no! Spacesuits at the cleaners! Should I go without? No way! Not after last time. Going into space without a spacesuit causes explosive decompression. Your brains come out of your ears and your nose. Think I'll go to Morecambe instead.
Welcome back to the Brainiac test track. Now, research shows that playing loud music in your car makes your driving worse. And even the up-tempo music can double your chances of having an accident. Well, earlier in the show, we put 3 guinea pigs to the test to see if music played at volume affected their perception of speed.
In fact, all three of our drivers' perception of speed was affected by the music. We covered up their speedometers and then asked them to drive at 30 miles an hour. Posh Phil's perception of what 30 was dropped to 26 with music. Middle-of-the-road Tony went from 34 to speeds between 25 and 35. And our boy racer Gary was much the same, closest to the mark without music, but drifting between 24 and 35 with.
So we've established that loud music plays havoc with your impression of how fast or slow you're going. Now we're going to test our subjects' skills. So will more music mean messier manoeuvres?
Earlier, our subjects negotiated this course without music. We timed them and awarded penalties for poor driving. This will enable us to see if the music makes a difference. First away was Posh Phil with Pomp and Circumstance. Now, according to research, if the music you're listening to has more than 60 beats per minute, you could have double the amount of accidents than those who listen to music slower than that. Phil was fine going forward, but it was the backward manoeuvres he struggled with the most, especially the reverse slalom. Phil finally made it through the course, and in a bit of a shock, the music made him a marginally better driver. He had a faster time and 6 fewer penalties. Tony and the Power of Love also struggled in the reverse park, picking up penalties for touching the tyres and being too far out from the curb. And again, the reverse slalom proved a challenge. Overall, Tony was definitely worse. 11 seconds slower, and he incurred 4 more penalty points than his first run. Last, but by no means least, is Gary and the drum and bass. In true boy racer's style, he threw his car around the course. Yes! And he had no trouble with the tricky reversing section, taking some nice tight lines.
Now, I believe the time is right now.
And interestingly, Gary was faster and picked up fewer penalties with the drum and bass. Our boy racer finally living up to his name.
So we've shown that music really does affect your driving, whether it makes you more aggressive or just more, well, gormless, really. And if you think about it, it makes sense. How many times have you reached across to turn the stereo down when you want to look at the map? So does that mean that subconsciously we already knew that in order to really concentrate, you need to turn the music off?
This floating office has been designed to provide you with the information you need to combat a rapid rise in the oceans due to global warming. We know you work hard, and with your head down, you may not realise the danger that you're in. What do you do? Which office product should you grab? Well, these are the things you should steer clear of. Anything made of paper or cardboard. They offer no buoyancy at all. The PC monitor had a bit, but not enough to support our office Brainiac. However, you'll be relieved to know that there are many things that do float, such as polystyrene cups, upside-down rubbish bins, and empty water bottles. Over the series, we put many products to the test, and this now means our Brainiac has very little to choose from. And there's the alarm that signals it's time to enter the water. What product will he go for? Well, he's grabbed the fax machine and the hard drive. The water must be getting to his brain, as there is no way this will work. And in he goes. The words "sink like a stone" come to mind. Our Brainiac is now a hopeless case as he's left floundering in the water. Quite clearly, fax machines and hard drives, and they're the 2 office products that you should avoid.
It's a problem that happens almost every time you visit the supermarket. You're halfway around, you can't find the person you came in with, and there's no mobile phone reception. So what is the most efficient way to be reunited with your shopping pal? First up, it's the willy-nilly method. Both our Brainiacs are let loose to roam round the store in search of one another.
Now, if their search patterns are completely random, it is possible that our 2 Brainiacs will never find each other, as there is no guarantee that they will ever cross paths. If you wanted to put a time on it, you could try and work it out using applied mathematics, algorithms and other big scientific formulas. You could even take into consideration things like random particle movement. But to do that, it helps if your name is Stephen Hawking.
A more efficient way is the sitting duck method. This is where one person stands still and the other person roams around the store till they eventually find them. However, you must be careful to predetermine before you go into the store which one of you is going to be the sitting duck and which one of you the hunter.
Now, how long this method actually takes depends on whereabouts in the supermarket you lost the person and whereabouts you wait. Of course, if you're in a superstore like this, it's going to take a lot longer, but you will eventually be reunited. There is, though, an even better method.
I present to you option number 3, keeping it simple.
Taking our cue from the marine world, we've created our very own Brainiac distress flares, which are visible from anywhere in the supermarket. Don't leave home without them.
Dodgems. They really are a Brainiac's favourite form of transport. There's no pleasure quite to compare with driving a rubber-protected vehicle at other people as fast as possible. But amongst all this fun and merriment, we at Brainiac always drag ourselves back to the main question. Where's the science? The point of Dodgems is, of course, to cause as much of a bump to the person you hit as possible without incurring damage yourself. So, what is the best way to give the opposition whiplash? In one car, our Brainiac driver. In the other, the victim. We're going to be measuring the amount of jolt our victim receives by the tried and tested method of fizzy drink and popcorn spillage. The better the collision made by our Brainiac, the more spillage that ends up on the victim. First of all, let's try the up-the-bottom approach. Smacking a Dodgem from behind has, of course, the benefit of surprise, as your victim can't see you coming. However, the impact is lessened by the fact that you are, of course, usually going in the same direction as the person you hit. An analysis of the cups reveals only slight spillage, a poor technique. Hitting your victim from the side is better. The force of impact dispersed a little into the forward motion. The general rule on this one should be, the more acute the angle, the better the impact, and hence the greater the spillage. Head-to-head is, of course, a Brainiac favourite. Though often banned by overzealous ride attendants, it's always possible to sneak one in when they're not watching. Though impact is considerable, the downside is that you get as big a jolt as your victim. How then to solve that problem? Easy. Get yourself a fat guy. Now when you make contact, the forward momentum should carry on. Yep, it does, and your victim suffers the most damage. So remember, avoid the up the bottom, maximise your angle on a side approach, but for best effect, pack a fat guy and charge head on. And with this advice, you won't be a victim all your life. Things John Tickle's body can't do.
Come in. Hello, Mr. Tickle. Would you stand over there, please? Now, Mr. Tickle, I'd like you to sniff this pepper, and when you sneeze, I'd like you to keep your eyes open.
When you're about to sneeze, a nerve in your nose sends a message to your brain to make your lids shut. This reflex is very hard to overcome, but can be done with practice. John Tickle has not been practicing.
Sorry, nurse, I couldn't do that.
Thank you, Mr. Tickle.
One more thing John Tickle's body can't do. Stop. Brainiac, an apology.
Come in. Hello, Mr. Tickle. Would you stand over there, please?
In a previous episode of this programme, we made the following claim. It is believed that no human being can lick their own elbow, as the combined maximum length of the neck and tongue is about 2 inches shorter than the length of the upper arm.
I'm sorry, nurse, I can't do that.
However, a number of viewers have written to us demonstrating that this statement was not in fact correct. We take our science very seriously here on Brainiac. As such, we make rigorous checks to ensure mistakes are not made. It will not happen again.
The other way is that.
So please, don't send us any more pictures and videos. We've learned our lesson. Which fruit floats? Featuring Professor Mayang Lee and her big basket of fruit. Today, she's got a firm, plump tomato. So, what's your guess? Does it sink or does it float? We'll give you a few moments to argue about it and give you the answer in just a moment. This is Brainiac, the show where we use and abuse science in the name of entertainment. Also to come, how well can you drive with this kind of distraction? And put your fingers in your ears, it's another frame of Caravan Snooker. But first, earlier in the show, Professor Mayang Lee posed the question, does her firm, plump tomato sink or does it float? Yes, tomatoes sink.
Here's one for you. If Teflon is meant to be non-stick, how do they get it to stick to the pan?
Back to Psychic versus Monkey, where we've been putting this spiritual world to the test. Who can make better predictions about the future? Well, so far, it's Mary the Monkey who's winning 1-0. Previously, we asked each of them for a lucky day to buy lottery tickets. They chose 2 different days, so we put half our holiday money on each. And yeah, thanks a lot. We lost it all. On to the next test. We gave both Jane and Mary a bag of clothes and asked them to identify which item belonged to Brainiac Joe. This psychic believes she can tune in to the emotional energy that a person leaves in their clothes. And, well, maybe she can, because she got this one bang on. Mary seems to like all the clothes. They all belong to Brainiacs, so maybe she likes the familiar monkey smell. However, she opts for a silky girl's top. A big no, I'm afraid. So now, it's 1-1. Final test, the decider. We gave Psychic Jane 5 watches. She says she can tell us which jobs the owners of these watches do by just feeling them. Mary seems to have gone for the same technique. So, who will win the final challenge? Psychic ability has never been scientifically proved. Then again, no monkey has ever shown a proven ability at fortune-telling. You wouldn't pay a monkey for advice about the future, so a psychic? Well, in our watch test, they both did equally well. They both got none right. So, at the end it stays 1-1. Back then to the crystal ball for Psychic Jane. While Mary, well, she's off to practice her new skill on her mates down at the zoo.
101 uses for a wee! Swimming at the seaside is such fun. But oh no, what's happened to Holiday Man? Quick, get to shore. It's those pesky jellyfish again, with their nasty, painful sting. He's miles from a pharmacy. Don't worry, help is at hand. Wee Wee will take that rotten sting away. Urine is full of ammonia, which deactivates the stinging cells that latch onto your skin. Ah, relief at last. Well done, boys. And well done, that wee-wee!
This week on Tall v Small, we find out if it's better to be lanky or little when it comes to riding a mechanical bull. The object of this exercise is to see who can stay on this bull the longest. First up, it's Little John. Because of the length of his inside leg, he can't sit astride the bull, which straight away puts him at a disadvantage. And we're off. This doesn't look like it'll last long. He's not looking comfortable at all, and there he goes. He's bailed out. Little John's time is 5.44 seconds. The longer you stay on the bull, the faster it goes, but Little John not getting up to any real speed at all. Big John's disadvantage is keeping his long limbs out of the way, but with only 5.44 seconds to beat, it shouldn't be a factor. And he's away. Being 7'3" means the rocking motion of the bull is accentuated at the extremities of his body, and he's actually travelling further and faster than Small John. Eventually, his ride comes to an end, but with a time of 14.6, he's done enough. When it comes to riding a mechanical bull, it's better to be tall.
Yes!
In 1983, Twisted Sister sang "You Can't Stop Rock and Roll." But we here at Brainiac aren't buying into that. The baseball bat, functional and versatile. Of course, it's designed to hit baseballs, but it has been known to hit other things as well. Bats come in various weights. The heavier the bat, the lower the speed of the swing, but the more momentum it can gather. We've gone for the heavier version, figuring it'll do the most damage. Can't stop rock and roll? You can with a baseball bat.
This is the Brainiac test track, where we've been investigating researchers' claims that listening to loud music can be detrimental to your driving.
We have established, using this driving course, that when music is pumping out of your sound system, it doesn't necessarily make your driving skills deteriorate, but it can alter your perception of speed.
So that begs the question, if loud music is distracting when you're driving, what else might you find in the back of your car to put you off? Well, using the results of the last test, we're now going to do it all over again as a comparison, but this time we'll have a different distraction in the back of each of the three cars. So, in the Mighty Rover, we have two avid football supporters engaged in an argument over Chelsea and Spurs. Argument on.
I'm so much better than Chelsea.
You can't say.
You've been doing it these few years.
And argument off. In the back of car number 2 are three tanked-up lads about to reenact the famous Bohemian Rhapsody scene from Wayne's World. And in car number 3, a trio of lovely ladies who are going to get changed from their office wear to their evening wear via their underwear. All three cars will be driving exactly the same course as before, and from this we should be able to discover whether it's the music or the mayhem that is the most distracting. You lucky, lucky man.
But first away, Tony and his Rover.
Business, business, business.
Business.
Of course, it's not. It's on the pitch. It should be the game of the fans, man.
Beyond that, hasn't it? That's why Chelsea...
Tony was the only one to perform significantly worse with music as his distraction. So it will be interesting to see how he goes with the football balls.
What is the difference now between Man U and Chelsea?
Money.
What? That you've got more than them? Yeah. Exactly.
Well, there we go. They seem to be having a significant effect already. It's Tony's third run around the course, so he should know it quite well. But all the hot air these two Brainiacs have been blowing have actually made Tony an even worse driver.
No, you no. Do that. Oh, what?
Well, clearly, in the otherwise calm and placid world of a Rover driver, two bickering football fans in the backseat is a big distraction. Dropped quite a handful of points there and a good couple of seconds on time. So, football fans really put you off.
Now, this should be interesting. From upper class to no class in the space of a back seat. How will Phil cope with three girly-haired, tanked-up orangutans? Right, Phil hasn't been the best going backwards. But look at this. That is quite a handy piece of parallel parking. Well, this is no doubt a far cry from the civilised sounds posh Phil is used to hearing in his Jaguar. No talk of weekends in the country here. It's all glam rock and raucous voices. And this bit should be the most raucous of them all.
Show me your work!
Maybe deep down Phil is really a rocker at heart, but his society just won't accept that. Because, unbelievably, the man who has been the slowest all day has actually, although it doesn't look like it, turned in a personal best time and scored fewer penalty points. Now, I'm sure I speak for almost everyone when I say this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Gary has been the best performer of the day on this course. The music actually made him better, but has he finally met his match? 3 hot ladies getting their kit off. Well, Gary's showing an enormous amount of self-control, or maybe he's blind. Oh no, there we go, he's had a look, and who can blame him? Yep, quite clearly checking out the underwear and its contents, but it doesn't seem to have affected his speed or his concentration. Gary surely must be a man of steel, or he loves his car more than he does women, or maybe he's gay, but you never asked. Gary, can you not see the same things that we can? His passengers are doing all they can to put him off, but Gary's not having any of it. In more ways than one, these girls really are a handful.
Right, the science part of that, I'm not sure, because Gary was actually quicker and better with the half-naked girls in the car. We've either proven that Gary is a man of iron, or maybe we've devised a whole new road safety accessory. I think perhaps my car needs one of those. So there you go. It looks like the really big in-car distractions, you know, headbangers, half-naked girls in the back of the car, can actually make a driver concentrate more. But put a few of your favourite tunes on and your mind could be wandering in moments. What do 6 caravans filled with different forms of explosive substances have in common with a snooker table? Nothing. You're right. Unless you're involved in a Brainiac snooker match where each of the pockets is wired to one of the caravans. It's the way all snooker should be played.
Welcome back to the Orchard, home of Brainiac snooker. Quintin Han is up against one of our own, although he hasn't had a chance to provide much of a challenge. As you can see, there's a bit of debris about the place. That's because Brainiac snooker is slightly different to the snooker played at the Crucible. The potting of the last 6 balls causes an explosion as each pocket is wired to a gas-filled caravan. Acetylene and oxygen was the order of the day when Quintin potted the brown. This explosion was the biggest so far. Caravan completely blown apart, and the game stopped while the referee attended to the debris on the table. With all that cleared up, Quintin Han can take 1 step closer to the 147 maximum as he lines up the blue.
$134.
He's played that nicely and left himself on the pink. Time for the players to retire to a safe distance and wait for the oxygen-filled caravan to explode. With oxygen, you don't see much of a flame, but there's a massive explosion. Once the O2 is ignited, it burns very quickly, causing a rapid expansion of the gas, and the caravan is unable to contain it. You'll be forgiven for thinking it's snowing. It's not. That's actually pieces of caravan. It's been blown to smithereens. Some bang, some match. 2 balls left and 2 explosions. Can Quintin complete his 147 break?